We're exploring what's called Moray, means circle. And this was an ancient Inca, like a greenhouse. They would bring seeds from lower elevation and they would plant them first low, and then each year they'd begin to move them up. They would pollinate them to create a variety that could grow in these higher altitude locations. There's 3 of them, and from the lowest spot in one of them to the highest spot in the top highest level, there's a 27 degrees Fahrenheit variation. You can see steps built into the walls so they can walk up and down. These are really big walls. The Inca civilization was very advanced in agriculture and experimentation. They have a lot of variety of crops, and they learned how to cross-pollinate and develop varieties, strains that could grow in these high elevations. They intermingled agricultural science, spirituality. It was all one to them.
The first point, this will be, let's consider this as a greenhouse, where the people, they acclimatize crops which is coming from lower area. Here, like from 2,500 meters elevation, these crops, they grow here. How will be the behavior of these plants? Some of them, they can survive, some other ones maybe not. That's why we have different temperatures, different elevation. So in the lower part of this area, definitely that's they planted first. As soon as coming the first year and second year, they will put it in the middle and higher definitely. Yes, and Incas also we have a lot of variety of potatoes. So around in Cusco we found 300 variety of potatoes. But of the Andes of Peru, we'll find 3,000. So thank you to these small experimental areas work like laboratories.
Here's the second one, and it goes even lower. It's kind of around the corner from the first one. And we're going to walk over here and see the third one. The Incas were master botanists. They would work over seasons to create a strain of a plant that they could grow at higher and higher elevations. And thus they have such a variety of potatoes and grains and corns, and amazing. Okay, I've just broke all the rules. I'm gonna get in trouble. But I've hiked above. I just had to get off of the trail of tourism and get up here alone. Be able to see and feel a little bit like what it would have been like to be an Inca. Hiking around here, terraced all the way up to the top of that mountain. Snow-packed peaks above, year-round. That's the third of the Moray. Incredible. And we're about 11,000 feet maybe 12 even. I think 11, where we're at right here. Come back down before I get in trouble. I'm always getting myself in trouble. The science is behind this. I've read, some believe it goes back 3,000 to 3,000 BC, learning this process of how to develop strains of crops that start off at a lower elevation and then make their way over the seasons. Those that survive, they move up. Welcome to Pisac. We are about 12,000 feet in elevation. This is a really excellent example of the amazing terracing that the Incas did. We're going to take a closer look at the stonework and make our way up to those buildings up there. Pisac was a very important point in the Inca Empire. It is the gateway into the Sacred Valley from the east. Anything coming in from the direction of the Amazon would have to make its way through this gate point. So it was very important for defensive purposes, agricultural purposes, trade, commerce, government, religious, and it's clear at the top of the mountains. We've come up and now we're descending down on to one of the terraces. Breathing a little hard after hiking up the stairs. The whole process of building these terraces is incredible. And underneath each terrace section, they put gravel for water to flow so that the water would make its way down through and underneath. So during the rainy season, when it's quite torrential, it doesn't flood it and wash it down the mountain. We've made it onto the back side. The terracing continues down this side. And then in the cliffs here, there are many little caves, little holes. A lot of them you can see up there. Those are all tombs full of people that were buried here. Thousands of them. This fountain here is a good example of how they moved water throughout the complex.
Mummifications back in the days, it was in a fetal position, baby position. So must be a little town like squats everybody. Like that is like a Incas belief in reincarnation. How you burn, you should do also when you pass away. You go back, same style, same techniques. That's why we can find little tombs, small size. So they are totally different. The royal families, they used to be in Sun Temple in Cusco, like those ones. But this must be for the normal society, those tombs.
It amazes me that people could live at 12,000 feet in elevation and have everything all thought through. How much work it would have been to put this together, to build it. We're at an ancient Inca temple site called Chinchero, and we're starting to see examples of the stonework where the stones are hewn so perfectly that they fit, you know, like a puzzle, no mortar. And then when the Spaniards came, they built on top of it. So now there's, you know, the arch and all that, that's all Spanish. But this site here was an ancient Inca temple site, Chinchero. The stonework is getting bigger. And again, just look at, it's like a puzzle. This is basalt here. Other areas we'll see where it's granite, which is even a much harder rock, but still incredible. No mortar. This is my guide, Simone.
Welcome. Yes, this is Chinchero place. Beautiful plateau with a different type of mixing of rocks. Now we're going to walking through a little bit that edge. We can find a lot of farming terraces and also our trail used to divide it from here, one to Pisac, and the other one will go to Moray.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
What we're walking on right here, Simone, was just like a big ceremonial
Place hold this because we can find the temples in front of us, left over of the nice type of walls. It must be temples, but back in the days this is a place high elevation. In that time they have really clean skies to see a lot of constellations, and thank you when they observe the constellation they can predict the future, how will be the rainy season, how will be your harvest, everything depends of that. These groups, they have to do gratitude.
Yep.
Offering llamas, offering some eucalypts, sometimes human, to the mountains, like who are protector, who are spirits for this group, definitely.
I see.
Yes.
You know, I do deep space astrophotography.
Oh, nice.
I set up big telescopes. I look deep into the cosmos, image distant galaxies, nebulae.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this must be so great.
It's so great.
To have that experience.
It is so great.
So we see those mountains.
Unbelievable. And the elevation, like the tops of those mountains, how high?
This must be around 14,000 feet.
14,000 feet,
Some other ones 15 and 16, definitely. Yes. Those are different elevations, some of them higher than the other one.
Amazing.
Yes, yes.
And the Incas lived all throughout the tops of these things.
Yeah, they like it to be more higher, this group, because more benefit for the animals, like llamas, alpacas. If they want to graze to them, they always choose the highest part.
I see.
More healthy, a specific type of grass. It's definitely a lot of type of crops for them. That's the idea. Like we have soil.
The terracing work is incredible. Again, the stonework, the irrigation, they used gravel underneath each terraced bed so the water would flow without it starting to, you know, when it rains real hard, without it breaking through and flooding it out. They had to think that all through. Look, it goes all the way, all those mountains there, all of that was terraced. Here you can see how they built the irrigation system along the wall. And again, think of the time it would take to form each stone to fit so perfectly with no mortar. And we're talking wall after wall after wall after wall of this. It leads me to believe that there's a mystery on how it was done. You can see there were different eras. Particularly looking here, you can see where one culture built. I mean, it's a different color even. You got the lower three there, for example, slightly smaller stone. And then subsequently, another couple of layers with bigger stone. And then followed by a few more layers with smaller stone, not as well cut. And then the Spaniards. Layer of century upon century. People have been living here for a long time. The Sacred Valley down below, mountain peaks up to 16,000 feet, snow-packed year-round. We're making our way down to what they call salt mines. They're not really mines though. It's where the water coming out of the ground is salty and they pool it, the water evaporates, and they harvest the salt. And this has been right in this spot being done, the salt being harvested from the salty spring water from way before Inca times. The pre-Inca culture worked these. These go back thousands of years, and they're worked to this day. It's really windy. You may wonder, why is the water coming out of the ground here salty? Well, look at the mountains. You see all that red dirt and red rock, that sandstone, and you see some limestone in there. This was all a seabed, and it was under the ocean. So layers and layers of sand and salt. You can see the salt in the soil right there. Piled up at the bottom of an ocean over millions of years, and then tectonic forces thrust this up. All of these mountains you see here were thrust up by tectonic forces. And so, as you can see right there is a good example of the salt right in the soil. That's the water, the geothermal water making its way up through this soil, brings the salt. And they pool it in these pools, and then they let the pools evaporate, and then they harvest the salt. This process has been taking place for thousands of years. The Incas did it, the pre-Inca cultures were doing the same thing. This provided valuable salt to the peoples that lived in these rugged mountains and the surrounding areas. This spring water, 32 degrees Celsius, which is really warm, has been coming down out of this mountain for thousands of years, and it's salty spring water. You can see the salt crusted on the edge. If the camera will pick it up. This is the source of the salty water. Thousands and thousands of years, salt has been gathered here. think the takeaway from today was just the cultures, the Inca culture, the pre-Inca culture, the sophistication of these cultures, and how they had specialization in agriculture here in this area that we're walking in, where they were extracting salt and farming, raising of livestock and building of roads and government. They were a very sophisticated culture, the Incas and the pre-Inca culture. And we're just seeing some of the evidences of how advanced they were and what life might have been like a little bit for them. The rugged terrain in which they built their homes and adapted to, and those amazing circular greenhouses where they developed strains of plants to adapt them from lower elevations to higher elevation. And this is high. I'm breathing right now. It's like 12,000 feet where we are. Amazing day. Amazing people.